Hello, my name's Adam Carew and I'm the Liberal Democrat parliamentary candidate for East Hampshire. In the May elections last year, we warned that the Conservatives were going to put up car parking charges in East Hampshire to pay for their so-called council tax freeze, which saves you, the taxpayer, just a penny a day. And we were right. As soon as the election was over, the Conservatives have done just that. Our papers have been full of complaints about the hikes in car parking charges, from local traders whose businesses have been affected, from shoppers and from people who are just trying to see their friends and relatives. Have the Tories at East Hampshire District Council listened to the residents of East Hampshire? Of course not. But given climate change and congestion, shouldn't we be encouraging people to use public transport instead? Yes, of course we should. But as the Conservatives at County Council have cut many of our buses, there's no real public transport alternative. So these car parking charges will do nothing to deter car use. The revenue raised from these car parks is not even put back into greener transport solutions. It goes straight into the coffers at Penn's Place. We in the Liberal Democrats say that's wrong. So how damaging have these car parking hikes been? Liberal Democrats opposed these charges at East Hampshire, but the Conservatives went ahead anyway. So we tried to call it in on legal grounds because it had not properly been considered. East Hampshire Liberal Democrat leader Dr. Tony Ludlow takes up the story.
We tried to call it in on policy grounds because the Overview and Scrutiny Committee can only address departures from policy. But the council solicitor took the view that there was no written policy on car park charging in East Hampshire, and therefore there were no grounds for calling it in. What we were particularly concerned about was charging on Sundays, because that's a radical departure and should be debated by the whole community. But since it's not part of a policy change, according to the solicitor, we have the situation that changes in Sunday car parking charges cannot be tested and cannot be debated. They're a decision taken by the Cabinet only. We took this to County Council as well, where I argued that there were safety grounds, because if you park on a single yellow line on Sunday, that's okay. So people will be moved from car parking in the Sunday car parks onto single yellow lines all over town, and there's no way of knowing how bad that will be. The County Council agreed with us in this, and they're monitoring the situation on safety grounds for a year to see what the damage is.
The District Council's decision to increase our car parking charges had to get approval from Hampshire County Council. Myself, Councillor Sam Payne and Dr. Tony Ludlow, who are County Councillors for Petersfield and Alton, went and made a fuss at County Council to put the residents' point of view.
We were particularly concerned about the increase in season ticket charges. The charges from machines have to go up in 5p or 10p bands, and we understand they could only go up from 30 to 40p. But the season ticket rise is very much greater, and that hits the vulnerable people who have to park during working hours during the day. So it's a small selection of the population paying a large amount of the council tax by stealth.
Unfortunately, the person making the decision was none other than the hardline bus-cutting environment portfolio holder, Councillor Melville Kendall. Not surprisingly, the Tories at County Council supported the Tories at District. Once again, our Tory MPs and our parliamentary hopeful have said precisely nothing. Months later, and the protests are still going on. There are still letters in this week's papers. So how will the Lib Dems do things differently?
We would also review the season ticket charges for vehicles with low fuel consumption and low carbon emissions. And we would put money back into greener solutions and use the car parking money in the way it's always been used in the past to provide better and easier transport.
So there it is. Liberal Democrats will give season ticket reductions for more environmentally friendly cars, we'll bring back the old rates, and we will ensure the money goes back into providing local transport. Liberal Democrats are fighting hard with and for local people on issues that matter to all of us here in East Hampshire. The Tories put out a newsletter called In Touch, but this can be nothing further from the truth. Liberal Democrats listen, and we stand up to be counted.